you have to heal as fast as possible, and you cannot stay bitter, because bitter is a blessing blocker.
What is happening, Skid Steer Nation? It's Ryan Deemer here. And depending on when this episode gets released, it's either going to be Happy New Year or hope you had a good New Year, because we're right on that brink of going last week, first week of the year. But either way, Happy New Year's. Hope you guys are going to have a great 2026. Industry outlook actually looks pretty good for 2026 from everything that I'm hearing and reading and the people I've been talking to. So I'm truly excited for what 2026 is going to bring to all of us. Wanted to say real quick, guys, this episode, I brought in a gentleman named Mike. He's up in New York, mostly doing snow removal currently and then getting really heavy into hardscape work. He's built a heck of a business, very smart business guy. It was an amazing conversation. There's a lot of little things to pick up from him along the way, especially how he's turned to faith and gave all the struggles and issues to God, and how it's made his personal life substantially easier, which then makes his business life easier to run. So hope you guys enjoy this episode. Before we kick it off, I do want to remind all of you that this episode is brought to you by none other than skidsteernation.com. Skid Steer Nation is your home for American-made attachments from family-owned manufacturers. Guys, I come from manufacturing, did it for 10 years. I know what good equipment looks like. I know what good service looks like. I know what quality looks like. We only offer those types of products on our store. So if you see it at the Skid Steer Nation website, then you can bet your bottom dollar it will work for your commercial or personal use. So head over to skidsteernation.com for your next skid steer attachment. And 2026 is here, guys. How are you going to fare when the spring hits and the business starts calling in and everyone starts getting busy? Are you going to be busy, or are you going to be lagging behind? If you're worried about that, book a call with me in the link in the show notes for Throttled Up Marketing. Our team can help you build a rock solid foundation online, help you rank higher on organic and paid searches, and get you booked out weeks in advance. We've seen it and done it numerous times over the last year. In fact, we had one customer, he didn't even have a business yet, started working with us. Within 90 days, we had him fully operational online. And within 45 days after he was 100% online, he was booked out for 6 weeks. So it works. It's tried and true. Trust our team. If you want to learn more, book a call in the link in the show notes. And last thing I want to ask you, hope your New Year's resolution is to give reviews, because you will not get reviews if you do not give reviews. You probably will, but it sounds good. Guys, if you've been listening to the show, you like the content, please give us a review on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you're watching the show. It helps us get found by more people so our content can help those out. Enough with the stuff. Let's get into the interview. Enjoy the conversation with Mike. You've got the snow crew, the hardscape. You've got some children. You're in a band. Like, what do you do? What do you do to stay grounded so you don't feel like you're being pulled in 90 directions?
That's actually been a really big talking point on the last few podcasts. So I'll be honest with you. This past August, everything was like built out of popsicle sticks, and it was going to come tumbling down. You know, just everything like you said. A lot of pokers in the fire, a lot of trauma, a lot of stress, a lot of friction, and I just seemed to not be able to get over that hump, not be able to have the capacity is the right word for all these things. So the answer to your question is, which I started doing in August, is I picked up the Bible. I started being obedient to God. I started praying every day. I started going to a men's Bible study, which is other young entrepreneurs. Okay. And dude, it changed everything. I mean, everything, you know? So I preach about that any chance I can get.
I love that. What did you notice? Like, how did it change everything? Like, is it just
number one,
giving up the worry to God, or like, what was the driver for you?
So the driver for me is, you know, no matter how far I pushed myself to the limit and how much money I made and how much success I had, as soon as I walked through that door of success, there was an obstacle that just took it all away. Okay. So when I gave it to God, so to speak, the first thing that it did is it gave me peace. Like literally, like took it all away, took all my worries away, took all my fears away, took all my stresses away, and I could actually breathe. It literally lifted a weight off of my back and gave me clarity, which then helped define my character, which then developed my purpose. So, I mean, that was the biggest thing, you know? So now I don't worry about anything. You know, I had a guy 2 weeks ago. I sold him my residential portion of the business that I've been doing for 15 years, wrote me a bad check and ghosted me. He's already gotten paid thousands of dollars. He's already taken all my clients and I got nothing. And I'm not pulling my hair out. I got no hair to pull, but I'm not pulling my hair out. You know, I'm not letting it ruin my day. I'm not letting it ruin my life. I'm not letting it affect my Christmas. I'm not going to be in a fog. Before I was in a fog around my wife, my kids. I was always in a fog, right? I was there, but I wasn't there. Now I'm there. I'm there for my wife and kids again.
Yeah. So that's something that I've talked about with a lot of guests and actually a lot of friends of mine too, is that separation of work and family. Do you find, like, is it just a natural occurrence now with everything you've been doing since August, or do you still have to take like 30 seconds or 5 minutes in the truck and like breathe and let it go so you can walk into the house and be present?
Nope. I just pray. It's that simple, dude. It's that simple. Every day I get up in my truck, on the job, running a piece of equipment. It just doesn't matter. As long as I'm using my energy to pray, it takes all that away. You know, I might not be able to get into the Bible every day. You know, and then I feel like, I'm not being obedient. But number one is prayer, you know, and, you know, in building your faith, you know, another struggle, that's an opportunity to build your faith. Another downfall, that's an opportunity to build your faith. You know, I heard something today that we have two wolves in our life. Okay. They're always fighting with one another. One is living in darkness and despair, and the other one is living in light and hope. Which one is going to survive? And the answer to that question is the one that you feed.
The one you feed.
Dude, like all these different things that, you know, that are, you know, that are spiritual. I mean, they're game changers. I wish I would have gave it to God sooner.
Yeah. It's, you know, and I'm sure we've all walked this. Those of you that have faith have probably all walked in this, right? Like I can look back in my history in my past and realize when times were bleak and I felt overwhelmed, it's easy to give it to God then, right?
Yeah.
When things are running smooth and like things are working great, you just think you're the reason it's all good. And you kind of walk away from it's easy to walk away from the faith when times are good. Easy to get into the faith when times are terrible.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And that's exactly what I did. I grew up in a Christian household. I went to Sunday school growing up as a kid. Later stepped away from the church as I got into my teenage years, was playing high school sports, chasing girls, you know, working on things, trying to make money, doing all these things that are distractions, right? They're noise. And, you know, I thought I had my whole life planned and figured out. You know, everything that I put my mind to, I would gain it, I would get it. And I would stay humble, but it was a never ending repeating cycle of, you know, me not being able to capacitate everything that went wrong. And I was blaming myself, you know, or I was spending money somewhere where I probably didn't need to spend money because I thought that was the solution, you know. But you're 100% correct. You know, when things are going good, you know, you don't think about praying, you don't think about picking up the Bible, but what it really comes down to is if you're not getting any resistance, then you're probably going in the wrong direction. Okay? Because God's going to give you everything, but it's not going to be without resistance. If you're not getting that resistance, then most likely you're not fulfilling your purpose. and you're not headed in the right direction.
Yeah. It's the same as like working out, right? Muscles
Yeah.
don't grow by moving air.
Nope.
Like you don't grow in the easy, you grow in the hard.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, think about it this way. I can say, what was the greatest day you ever had in your life? And like easily, default answer, wedding, kids, birth. But you're just like, I don't think you actually can picture it, right? But I can say, what was the worst day you ever had? And you could tell me like what it smelt like outside, the temperature, what clothes you were wearing. Like we remember the bad times so much more vivid than we do the good times.
Yeah. Yeah. And even most times with our work, we're not judged by the 100 times we succeeded customers' expectations. We're judged by the one time we have a hiccup.
Yeah.
Especially like in commercial snow removal. You try to maintain and hold on to these contracts for year after year because that's how you feed your family. That's how your employees feed their family. But, you have one bad day, you're judged on that. You're not judged on all the other good days.
Yeah. So true, man. So how has your leadership changed since August with your crews, with your new devotion?
Not so much because prior to August, I have a foreman, I have crew leads, stuff like that. And this year I was really focused on trying to be outside of the picture and really allow my men to, be able to handle things without me. Okay. So I was pretty good on that. And it allowed me to focus on other things, in the day-to-day operations with running the company and creating schedules, creating installation manuals, closing and designing more work, all these other different things that I couldn't get to when I was on the job being the foreman, So that was a big hump for me prior to, bringing God back into my life was delegation and releasing control.
How did you develop that trust muscle so you could start letting go of that and giving your guys the room to run without you micromanaging?
50% of it was luck. And the other 50% was the guy who I was delegating to had ran a similar business, his own business for 20 plus years, and decided a couple years ago that, he didn't want that stress anymore. He just wanted to go create and work for a great company and be treated, for that, So, and he had approached me a couple years ago and we linked up, and it's been a godsend, that he was able to come and join forces with me. I look at him like a partner in the business.
That's
he gets
awesome.
it, he understands it.
Yeah. It does make a big difference. And on a different note than you, I just slowly stopped being available a little less every day.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they quit messaging me with the simple questions.
Yeah.
Cause they know he's not going to get back to me for a day or two. So I might as well just figure it out. And I just kind of almost force them to do it on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great way to do it as well. Unfortunately, I live in a small county. We have about 450,000 people. I would say it's a poor county. And New York just supports bums. Okay.
Yeah. We're in Illinois, so I get it.
I mean, the unemployment, it just went up this year. Now they doubled unemployment. It used to be like $400 or $500 a week. Now it's close to $900 a week. Like, why would you go to work?
Yeah.
It blows my mind. So it's not like there's a big hiring pool for, everybody looks at landscaping companies and the stuff we do as, not like a skilled trade, but it is. I mean, I have a couple guys that are about to break six figures a year. The 401k match, I pay 50% of the healthcare, dental, vision. Guys can make really, really good money here, but it's a demanding job. You're working in the cold, you're working in the rain, you got crappy hours, So how I help battle that is, couple things. I like to hire older people, born in the 70s, because they get it. They were raised differently, right? They weren't raised, they weren't spoon-fed things growing up as a kid. They didn't have someone they could call when they needed to figure something out. They just figured it out, right? And team culture, take my guys to breakfast. We just had our company Christmas party the other night. Prime rib, shrimp, open bar, awards, gifts.
I was going to say something about that. I thought that was absolutely amazing that you had awards created for your company to give to employees.
Absolutely. And I didn't give an award to everybody. Not everybody gets a trophy here. Okay. We're grown men. We have responsibilities, and you're going to earn it. Just like I have to earn everything in this company. I can't just, go live in the Bahamas 10 months of the year while you guys run the show. Maybe someday. That'd be great. Right.
Yeah.
So that's just how I was raised,
Well, everything you said about the people in the 70s resonated with me because I was actually born in the 70s.
I figured that. That's why I made that comment.
Yeah. I love this, man. We don't have to spend a ton of time there, but walk me through the early days. Walk me through the first few steps of your journey to get you where you are today.
Yeah, man. So, I've always had 2 feet in, for lack of better terms. I've always been doing more than one thing at once. Okay. I grew up very big in acting and music. I thought I was going to be an actor growing up. I traveled up and around all over. I've had some great opportunities in that field, and I was big into music, and I taught myself to play a handful of different instruments. I went to college for music. And then I realized I didn't need a degree for performance to say that, that I could play, that I could be in a band. So I dropped out of college. I went to another college for electrical engineering. And that was a fast track program. So that was great. I didn't have to be there for 2 years, and started working for a solar company. And I wanted to work there and do installation because I'm a big believer that if you can create something with your hands and you can learn how it works and it and you can sell it. My thing is sales. So during that interview, the CEO said, I'm going to hire you, but not for installer. You're going to be the sales manager. So I'm like, I've never been a sales manager before. All right. And obviously it pays way better than an installer, double, if not triple, and it actually ended up being a lot more than that. So at that time I said to him, by the way, I've been snow plowing for the last few years, actually 4 years. And I've got some driveways and a couple commercials. And so, can you work with me on that? There might be some mornings that I'm not going to be in the office at 7 a.m. And my big thing too, from a sales standpoint, is if I'm in the office, I'm not making the company any money. I need to be out of the office. I need to be with our customers. I need to be knocking on doors. I need to be going out there and getting it. So he didn't quite understand that. We bashed heads quite a bit about me not showing up at 7 a.m., but I was still making the company lots of money. And to this day, this guy still calls me. I resigned from that company in 2014. He still calls me wanting to hire me back. We still have a good relationship. But how with the whole landscaping side of things, I just started a snow plowing company in 2009. It was just supposed to be a little side hustle. Like I said, I wanted to be a musician, or I wanted to take over my family's roofing company. All right. And from there, while all my time was being taken up by this solar company, something happened in the snow plowing world with my commercial clients. I was getting all these landscapers bidding against me in the winter, which I didn't want. I'm like, what the heck? So I asked my clients, could I bid the landscaping? And they're like, yeah, we actually would love to have you do it. And then I have the customer for 12 months out of the year. So literally first of spring, I went out and bought 2 brand new mowers, the best mowers you could buy, the blowers, the weed eaters, everything. And I hired 2 guys that I knew from my town. And how hard can it be? Go cut some grass every week. We could talk about this. We could do a whole nother episode about lawn care employees that would blow your mind, because I
can only imagine.
I would love to know from other companies what they do, because it seems to me that is like a very, very, very hard position to employ. Okay. But, so that's where we kind of took off. And then I realized, well, lawn care is like less than half of the profit margin as snow plowing. So you're thinking you're fat and rich all winter long, right? Especially if it doesn't snow. And then April rolls around and you're cutting grass, and yeah, it's a set schedule, but now you've got all this overhead and half the amount of income. So boom. I had a really good friend of mine that is a local sheriff, and he had a pretty good hardscape business for years, and he ended up getting out of that business because he wanted retirement. So he joined the sheriff's, and he's like, hey, let's go lay these brick pavers on this. My first customer was my sister. She had a little sidewalk. I'm like, this stuff is easy, right? Backbreaking work, but it's easy. So boom, that's how I got into the outdoor living. And then ever since then, it's just been building, developing. We just finished a 6-figure project, the biggest project we've ever done. It was close to $1 million. We just finished it a couple months ago. And I'm so thrilled that it's done. It came out amazing. And there's not even anything remotely close to this type of project in my county. And I have hundreds of competitors. Some of them do some great work, but I went over the top with this job. I had the perfect client. I had the perfect setup from the first time this customer called me to the time we finished the job was like 3 years.
Oh, wow.
There was 12 months just in design. Not a lot of companies like me around here even do designs, So now, I mean, we do about $2 million a year. Seems to be, that hump. I've been trying to get over it. But the way I'm going to get over that hump is to develop my sales and marketing, which is really, really hard to do, because, it's hard to find someone out there like me who can go out and close deals and build relationships.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the hurdle I'm at now.
So I love that story, everything about it. I feel compelled just to kind of throw it in there, is that instead of trying to find a dedicated salesperson, if you thought about trying to find basically like a setter, somebody who can pre-qualify and get some information and follow some bullet points, and then you can handle the sales, but not the whole process, just the last half of the process, you should be able to double your qualified customer touch points.
Yeah, certainly. And we sort of do that now. It's not, I guess half the battle is getting them to call, right? I will tell you that most of our clients are referrals. Okay. They're sold before, before I even meet them, right? Because we did their friend, or we did their family, or we did their neighbor, and they just saw how we treated them, how we provided customer service, how we provided quality work, how we took care of the job site. Our social media is blowing up right now. I was going to call myself content psychopath, like Matt called himself, but he's already coined that phrase.
He's coined it.
I mean, just in the last week alone, we've had over 8 million views on our Instagram and our Facebook. Facebook and Instagram are paying me now, which is amazing. And I'll be honest with you, the money's pretty good. And this is just the beginning. So,
yeah,
in my eyes, my company's value doubled overnight. So if anyone was going to buy me out, they should have did it a couple weeks ago.
They should have done it earlier in the year.
Yeah. And that's a blessing. That's a blessing from God.
Yeah. How do you feel? I mean, obviously you're doing a good job of sharing it, but what doors has it opened, like whether internally or externally, about you like being more open and sharing your journey and your story online?
I had a dream that and I don't want to sound too heavy, but just let me paint this picture for you. I get to heaven, right? And I get to meet God for the first time. And it walks me up to the top of this hill. And the sun's just getting ready to come down. Just imagine a beautiful sunset, right? And we're looking down the hill and we see hundreds, if not thousands of people at the bottom of the hill. Some of them I recognize. Some of them I have no clue who they are. And I said, who are they? And God says, they're here because of you. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't want to be one of those Christians that just tries to paint Christianity everywhere, and I got a bumper sticker on my car and all these things. But I started promoting some of this on my social media because I use my social media for everything, predominantly my business. And the amount of people reaching out to me, the amount of people coming up to me in public and giving me a hug and telling me how I changed their life. You know, part of my purpose in my business is to change people's lives. Okay? It's not about the amount of money I make. It's about changing their life. Okay? Giving them an experience, not a price, but an experience. And we work so hard to do that. But very rarely do we get the satisfaction from one of our customers that we changed their life. You know, like a physical hug or a statement, you changed my life. But these people are coming up to me and literally telling me how I changed their life. I mean, it just makes you feel so good. And you realize that, you know, the problems we have internally aren't really problems. They're just seasons.
I love that. I say that I use that same analogy. You know, winter's always coming and so is spring. Like, get prepared because you're going to have a down season. And I find the longer you fight it, the longer that damn season lasts.
That's right.
Like, you're better off to let it go. It'll blow by quicker.
You have to heal as fast as possible, and you cannot stay bitter because bitter is a blessing blocker.
I'm stealing that.
It's not mine. I stole it.
Well, I'm double stealing it then.
Perfect.
Oh, man, I love that. With your success with social media, are you finding that there's a cadence or a rhythm or type of a structure that you like to follow? And is there like tips or tricks that you could give other contractors that you think they're missing the boat at across the country?
I wish the answer to that question was yes, but I am firmly believe that companies like Meta, okay, are bigger than anything out there, and they've got it figured out. And I love all these people making these videos. This is what you got to do. This is what we got to do. Because you know what? There's a lot of people. Almost everybody out there wants to make it big on social media, right? They want to be able to just sit home, create videos, and be lavishly rich. But they're doing it for the wrong reasons. I don't think there's a metric. Okay, I don't think there's a cheat code for social media. I think it takes time. And when I say time, I mean years. It takes a lot of repetition, which is exhausting. Okay, because what are you doing? You're in your phone. Your phone is one of the most toxic things out there. Okay, especially if you have a family. Okay, it completely cuts you out of a social world. You know, my generation is the last generation that when we grew up and we didn't have cell phones, we actually went outside and we played. My kids, they'll never experience that. You know, my kids are 5, 7, and 10. They're not going to know what it's like to just get dropped off at the mall for 2 hours and hang out with their friends and then get picked up by mom and dad, or go outside and build a tree fort. You know, there's no social connection anymore. And then on top of that, these darn kids for 2 years had to wear masks. You couldn't even read their lips. You couldn't even see their faces.
Yeah.
Like, this is the planet we live in, right?
I know.
So I know this is a big tangent, but no, I will tell you this, though. It seems that content does better, you know, in the evening or early morning, okay? You have to post a lot of things, and you have to realize that for every 10 or 20 videos you post, maybe one of them hits. But I will tell you this, I've had like 4 or 5 hit now. My last one just 7 days ago is over 5 million views. And I have one before that that's over 7 million views. It starts to happen a little bit more. The other thing is, it's got to be stupid. It's got to be dumb and stupid, you know?
I'll tell you what, the video that stood out to me the most that you made, and it was because you were making fun of yourself, kind of. But it started out with a POV point of view, and people saying, hey, people keep asking me about my POV camera setup. And then you flipped it around and you had like this huge black camera all the way down between your eye. And I was like, who the hell would work with that on their face?
I know.
But it was, you know, it was memorable and it was funny. And I'm like,
the other thing is short. Keep it short.
Yeah.
You know, because people's attention spans is, you know, they're not good anymore. Even so, my own.
I reference this a lot, but you're going to die laughing at this if you haven't heard this. They did studies, and a goldfish has an attention span of 10 seconds. And human beings today in this world have an attention span of 7 seconds.
Crazy. It's hard to think that we've came to this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I think while we're on the topic of social media, I'd love to get your thoughts on my views. I think being transparent and honest about who you actually are and who your business actually is, showing the good, the bad, even the ugly, is more important than trying to create the perfect skit or the editing of the music. I mean, the rawer, the better sometimes works. And people, it's still a social, even though it's antisocial, still a social platform. And people want transparency and truth.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. And it's kind of the way I look at it. I do have some form of restraint just because at the end of the day, I'm trying to be a professional. You know, I'm trying to promote a brand. But sometimes you just gotta full send, you know?
Well, but again, like Mike, if you had a driver clip a car with a snow plow.
Yeah.
And you kind of did a video like, hey, snow plowing's all fun and games until now we got to contact the customer. We got to take care of and like you're showing that you're doing the right thing. Like a lot of people be afraid to show that they hit a car.
Yeah. So,
and to me, I'm like, that's what makes you human. It's not what happens. It's how you handle it.
Yeah, that actually happened. And I did post that video, and it was a loader operator. You got to go back and watch this. I'll send it to you, but it's on whatever. It's on all my Instagram and TikToks and all that. But I had this loader operator. He literally thought he could fit between this tractor trailer and this car. And he brought his blade, this 16-foot massive blade, right down on top of the hood of this car. And ironically, you know how you can reuse a sound in these platforms for your video. There was one from like this British guy about being employee of the week or employee of the month. So I used that sound. It's like, yep, no surprise here. I'm going to be employee of the month again for the 6th month in a row. You know, and as this loader blade just comes down on this car, right? And it was hilarious. And I didn't do a follow-up video, but I'll tell you what, the guy's car who we hit, who was great, and he sends me messages all the time. I took great care of him. He needed like a fender and a headlight, and it was like, you know, crazy expensive, but it's like, go to the shop, get it taken care of, have him call me, I'll give you my card. and the dude was blown away because he's like, I can't believe you're not ghosting me. I go, why? It's on camera. we messed up your car, dude. Like, yeah. He's like, they don't have a loaner for a few days. I'm like, come get my Super Duty. You can have my Super Duty. I don't know anything about this guy, right? I'm like, come get my Super Duty. You're
giving him a Super Duty truck.
He's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Literally, I was like, dude, come get my truck. He's like, no, I won't. I was like, I have 10 trucks. Come get a truck. Pick one out. I don't care. And he wouldn't come. He wouldn't come do it. And he still works for that company. And it speaks volumes too to with the company. I have to think about the company he works at is a big paying client of mine. So if I don't treat this guy right, what's he going to do? He's going to go to his company. And the last thing I want is that company having any type of friction with me. It's hard enough as it is to keep these contracts.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, it happens. But, I had another time I had a lady that kept complaining about her polysand, and the polysand failed and I had to do a video on that. And I was there on a Saturday or Sunday in the blazing heat fixing it, and I had a manufacturer come all the way down from Canada to New York on the job and explain to the homeowner, this is why it failed and we're sorry and we're standing by it and this is what we're going to do. You got to do those things. And you're right. A lot of people don't see those behind the curtain things, right? Because everybody wants to be noticed.
Right.
Not all want to be known. You know what I'm saying? So I think that rawness that you're talking about, that might be the biggest factor.
I think it is. I mean, people, let's be honest. We are our own worst critics. We think we as an individual are failing because we see everyone else in the world, or we create these limiting beliefs in our heads. And so when you can see a business owner who you've got like, man, this guy's got life by the nuts, and then you can see him fall and trip and be vulnerable about it, it makes me connect with you because that's a level I'm comfortable with.
100%, man. I was pretty like that in my personal life, and then my wife is like, sometimes you just need to put a filter on it, So she trained me to be a good, have a good filter, and you just got to know when and when not to, and and I do like to keep some things personal, and I think putting your face out there is good. That's kind of a struggle for me because usually I'm the one taking the video.
Yeah.
But I've invested into other ways. There's tripods and selfie sticks and all these different other things, and I'm getting better and better, and just kind of go from there.
So country music, kids, hardscaping, snow removal, and then you still have time to be a leader in the Lafayette Optimist Group. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, vice president, just got inducted as vice president.
What is the Lafayette Optimist Group?
So Optimist, it's an international club. It's worldwide. It's called Optimist International. And our duty is that we serve the community, the youth of the community. So, anything to do with kids. What we do particularly is we have a basketball tournament. We have a Halloween party at our local park with a haunted house and hayride and everything. And everything's free, by the way. So we spend thousands of dollars for donuts and gifts, our fishing derby, our bike rodeo, all these different things we do in the community. And it's all free for the youth of the community, kindergarten through, high school.
Wow.
So I've been in that club for 10 years, a little more than 10 years now. I'm the youngest cat in the club. The oldest member in the club was born in 1935. And
goodness, that's awesome.
He's been a member for over 50 years in this club. Most of the guys in this club are over 60 years old. So
Oh, wow.
twice my age.
How is that? Let me word this properly. Being around gentlemen with that much life experience, how much has that benefited you, not only as a man, but as a business owner?
100%, dude. All I want to do is get better in life. It doesn't even have to be monetary. It's wisdom. You know, here, the guy I was just telling you about, his name's Ron Bush. Okay. And this guy is so wise. He owned his own business. He was in the oil business, and then he passed the company down to his sons, his family. And recently his family just sold it this year, but they ran it for 30 something plus years. I've been buying my diesel fuel from them for years. Great small town family business. I live in a town. We have one traffic light. There's maybe, I don't know, a few thousand people or 4,000 people or so that live in this town. So everybody knows everybody. Not only does he have so much wisdom, he's been on this planet for literally almost 100 years. Yeah. And then there's doctors in this club. There's retired lawyers in this club. There's other business owners. There's retired state troopers. And a lot of these people I've done business with. And that's how I actually got into the club. And you have to get sponsored to be in the club because they don't just let anybody join the club. And it's a men's only club. So, yeah, I mean, just the wisdom, you know, talking to these guys and hanging out with these guys. We meet twice a month, and their life experiences and just their thought processes and how they make decisions, you know, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of friends that are my age, that, you know, are in my shoes.
Right. It's difficult,
you know, and that's not a bad thing. You know, I'm blue collar. I mean, I had people I graduated with that are much more successful than me. But you know, it's not like, my phone's ringing. Hey, Mike, what are you up to today? You know, hey, Mike, what do you think about this? And vice versa. You know,
so I give you my 2 cents on why your phone doesn't ring. As a business owner, every time they called you 5-10 years ago, you were unavailable because you were busy growing your business. And what happens is they just quit calling because they're tired of hearing no.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been, it's when you say that, I just kind of, a bunch of memories came back. I used to be close to a couple of guys. My best man at my wedding. I haven't spoken to him in years. We don't talk, nothing, you know. He's a business owner. He's got a pretty successful business, but we both had good businesses when we were close. And then we had a falling out, and I would gladly, you know, hang out with him again. But, you know, we both went our separate ways, and there was a wedge between us. But, besides that, yeah, it's, you know, and I'm emotionally invested in what I built.
Right.
You know? And I still need to maintain and keep that emotional investment and open enough for my personal life, my wife and my kids. So I don't have time for friendships.
I was just going to say that too, because when you look as a business owner, when you carve out time to take care of yourself, because that's like putting your oxygen mask on first at the airplane.
Yep.
And then you've got to spend your day managing and taking care of your business and your employees. And then you've got to spend your afternoons and evenings taking care of your kids and your family. Yeah. Like we're down to just a few percentage points of a week that's available for outside influences or rest.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
It is. We're just touching the tip of the iceberg here. I also coach 2 youth sports. I've been a coach for 6 years, wrestling and lacrosse. And right now we're in wrestling season. So I don't know how I can do it all.
Yeah.
You know,
but you're getting social involvement through those coaching activities, through the Optimist Club. Like it's a different type of friendship, but it's still human bonding in person. It's not just
right.
feeling isolated on an island.
Right. No, definitely. I definitely don't feel that.
Yeah.
But I just I want to serve, man. I want to help people. I want to give back. I want to, just be a good person. And that's always been my thing, and make, the best decisions I can in life. And, everything will be great.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't apply themselves. Some people don't hustle. Some people don't put themselves in positions to experience a relationship, or, have a friendship, or, have any success in life. And it's because maybe they're scared. Maybe they're fearful. Maybe they've been hurt. But it's all full circle, man. God's in control of all that.
Yeah. So I have a question based on that, because I feel my philosophy is exactly what you talked about. People don't put themselves out there because they're afraid of failure. They're afraid of being rejected or hurt or isolation. Have you ever self-sabotaged at any point in your business? Because whether you subconsciously or consciously were like, I don't know how to handle this next step of growth, or I don't feel like I deserve it. I'm assuming if you would have, it would have been early in the career, not recently.
Could you give me an example?
So I would get, I have a terrible, I've dialed it in as of the last 5-6 years, but I used to get something going. It would go really well. And the opportunity to explode to the next level is right in front of you. But I wouldn't know how, what does my life look like if I actually achieve this? Because everything changes, whether it be the money or the size of the staff or, the responsibility. So then I would actually divert my attention and go try to do something different and hope this stays where it's at. And I'd realize later that I'm like, oh, you're doing that because you're avoiding that success because it's foreign to you and you don't know how to live your life if you actually get it.
Yeah. So I would say in a roundabout way, yes, but you trying to think of the best way to answer this. Our biggest obstacle in life, in business, in anything, is ourself.
Right.
So yeah, there's times you need to be able to get the hell out of your own way. Right. I look at the way I was raised is, like I said, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I have 2 girls and I have a boy. And, I've always had a leader mindset. So I try not to act vulnerable or look vulnerable and try to sabotage anything. But my own self, I'm sure it's just part of the nature of the beast. I'm sure I've made wrong decisions a bunch of times. And, I'll never know. I'll never know if I would have did something different, if it would have altered the outcome, So I don't think I've ever intentionally self-sabotaged some things.
Yeah.
That's a tough question, but a good question.
Thanks, man. With your hardscaping business, if you're going to go and mentally 100% focus on that direction going into 2026, what's that look like moving into next year? Are you going to be because you have some pretty cool equipment. You're already using the tilt rotator and things, right? Does that really improve efficiencies with your crew and all that? What looks next for you with that hardscape business?
So it's tough to do that type of work here in the winter.
Right.
We get 140, 130 inches of snow a year. Okay. Probably one of the snowiest spots in the United States, or at least the Northeast. So I have another business that I started 4 years ago. That's awesome, booming, and I don't have to do anything. And
is that your storage business?
It is. You've really done your research, Ryan.
Thanks, Mike.
So I guess that means my marketing is working, right? It's reaching people from Illinois.
No, well, I did some digging, so
I love it. So that's kind of my end game, right? So to answer your question, yeah, I want to have as much of the year planned out as possible, and I want to have that winter to build and relax.
Yeah.
So, and I think some of the guys would appreciate that too, and if we can do some work in the winter, we'll do it. We're not going to lay around on the couch all winter long,
Right.
But really, that's if we get to there, we'll cross that bridge. We'll see what God's plan is for that. Who knows? I thought before this podcast, with what's been going on social media lately, and I've been helping out this other business and creating some videos for them. And, I was like, I never could afford to hire a marketing company. I probably still can't, and that's probably one of the biggest, scariest things from a business owner is to make a decision on marketing, right? Because it's so expensive that, maybe I would just go business to business and help out all these businesses and boost their social, boost their content for them, because that comes so naturally to me, and do it for less than half the price because it's a hobby, so to speak.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my purpose. I don't know. You've got a marketing company as well, right?
I do. And,
how's that? Good?
It has outpaced our wildest dreams. So we literally just had our 1-year anniversary like a week or so ago.
Congratulations.
And, we're almost tracking to do $500,000 annually in revenue already. We've got a team of 6 of us already in a year.
It's getting real.
Well, yeah. It was easy to do it because I already had the structure from past businesses and the mistake. Like we talk about the mistakes you learn, right?
Yep.
So like for me, I have not taken a penny out of the business because I knew if I reinvested in the team and the process, and then if I have a little delayed gratification, which is 2 words I think everybody needs to learn.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's another 4 or 6 months. When I do start making money, it's going to be consistent. And it's not going to be a cash grab because we've got a very, very strong foundation for the company.
That's right. Yeah.
So like, I don't want to turn this into an ad roll for Throttled Up Marketing, but like, what are your hesitations with working with a marketing company, specifically like with the hardscape company or with your snowplow business?
Well, because for me, it's not about just making the phone ring. It's about the people that are ringing your phone. And I've gotten I've been looking at it pretty hard the last 12 months, especially last winter. And some of these companies wanted to charge me like $50,000, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, all these different things. Some of them, they wouldn't even do anything unless they could build you a website. Like, I don't need a website, and it's just like, it was friggin' marketing is exactly what it was. How about let me meet someone from a marketing firm that's real, that treats me the way I treat my customer. Okay. And you can feel it. You can tell when someone's full of shit. All right. And I was like, okay, guarantee it. Guarantee you're going to bring in an extra $30,000 a month, which that should be easy. 30,000 is nothing. If you're going to charge me $3,000 a month, then I need to make another $30,000 or $40,000 gross, whatever it is. And they kind of talk for me, and it's just because I don't know everything there is to know about marketing, but they talk like they got 3 heads. They want to do this, they want to do that. Google ads, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Code this, HTML, that, all these different things. Like, you got to dumb it down for me. So I did a little research, and I know Google was getting sued for their ads. Those weren't really working out for me. Worked out great for my storage business, but did not do anything for my hardscaping business. And then those went away, and now there's what's called Google has local business.
LSAs, local service ads.
Yeah, local service ads. So now you're paying per lead, And that's when my phone started to ring. Unfortunately, it was ringing for the wrong reasons. It was ringing. It was ringing for residential snow, which we don't do. Okay.
Right.
But I also had a problem with Google where the only leads I was getting from Google were 2 hours away. And I had to fight Google with that. I had already been established Google profile, address, everything. I don't know what happened, but this went on for almost a year. And every time my phone rang, it was 2 hours away. So it was useless. Looking back, I should have just had a satellite office 2 hours away, because the amount of leads that were generated in that area, I could have doubled my revenue.
Yeah.
But so to answer your question, that's, maybe we'll have a conversation. Maybe we can talk about that,
Well, and I'll be honest, like I looked at your website, I looked at your profile, I did a little research on all that because I was looking at your social media and like the pictures of the projects you did and everything. I'm like,
oh yeah,
like, this guy does beautiful work, right?
Yeah.
Your website's snow only, and then you feed in a few photos from social.
So that is already redone. The new one hasn't launched yet, and I'm super excited to launch that. I just have a couple more things I'm getting uploaded onto that. I've been working on that since May.
Okay.
It was supposed to launch in June, but I'm a procrastinator. And so we're hoping to launch it within the next couple of weeks. Wanted to have it right. And let me just tell you about this website. This website, even though it's offline, okay, for some reason, the website that's not even live yet is generating SEO, is generating leads. Like we literally had leads come in from our contact form on our site that's not live because we just built this thing so powerful. And my SEO on my domain is so strong from 15 years of owning that website. And the website developer couldn't believe it. He sent it to me. He's like, I can't believe this, but we actually just got a lead come in to a site that's not even live. Huh. And they literally were like 7 miles away from me. And I went and talked to them and I closed them.
Yep.
So it blew my mind. I don't know if it was just like a quirk in the system or what happened, but so, I mean, this website and I went and looked at all these other people's websites, not even really my competitors, because my competitors in my local area, their websites are kind of like mine now. They're websites that are 10, 15, 20 years old. They're terrible. It's like MySpace. So I'm looking at some of the big time players on social media, right? I won't mention any names, but I'm looking at other guys like me that are big time players. Some of them have deals with footwear companies. Some of them have deals with, hardscape companies or hardscape material companies, the manufacturers, the dealer reps. They're big. They're generating way more views than I am. Okay. And I looked at their websites and I was still blown away that their websites weren't anything to be crazy about. So, you're going to, as soon as it launches, I'm going to send it to you because I want you to see it and I want to see it. I want to get your feedback. Actually, I can send you the unlive link and you can go through it and check it out.
Oh, cool. I'd love to.
I will do that.
All right. Well, again, here, you said that they all talk with three heads, they do everything else. With Throttled Up, man, I literally handle all the sales calls myself.
Yeah.
We do not position ourselves as like any guarantees of leads or revenue and everything else. We position ourselves more as a marketing partnership for your company, right? So we want to make sure that you have a strong cornerstone. Like, do you know exactly what services? You wouldn't believe how many guys don't really know their core values and the core niche services.
Yeah.
And like, we try to position the company for where you want to be, not where you currently are. Right. So like, what's your 3-year goal? Like, we go really deep into learning about you, your business, your philosophy, your values, the type of customers you want to work with. And then from there, we're able to, help you assess your social channels. And I don't mean like how you do your content, but like, is your Google business profile perfectly dialed in? Do you have the right categories? Are we listing all the services? Does it link back to your website?
Right.
Does your website have all the back end things? And like, what's important for Google on the back end, but what's important for people on the front end? What's your message so that when people read this, they say, hey, I have strong faith. I have the same values. I want to work with that guy. Right. Because we're not just selling a job.
Right. No, we're selling
so we look at, and then what do you need from a print material standpoint? Do you need, yard signs or brochures or flyers, or are you struggling with lead? Like if I can't tell you how many clients we get that actually call us after they've been working with us, go, hey, all my leads, I'm like getting back with half of them because I don't know how to fill in my workday with the lead marketing. So then we start looking at the problems marketing causes the other areas of your business, right? So we've got a full copywriting team, web development team, graphic designing team. Like we do paid ads, but it's not a requirement, right? If you want paid ads, we'll manage it. We'll set it up. We'll track it. We'll do the data with you, whole kit and caboodle. And we do all that for a one set price fee, monthly fee.
Yep.
No retainer, no contract, no ownership of assets, right? Like if you worked with us for 6 months and left, everything we built for you, you take it with you. Website, the domain, the profiles, the graphic design, the brochures, the ad account, all of it's yours. Because those are the three things I hated about marketing companies out there. I thought they took advantage of people with, sign up fee, contracts, and then ownership of like domains and things of that.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, we should talk about it. I'll listen to anybody, And
we're $1,500 a month.
That sounds affordable, for me.
Well, it's affordable. We've actually worked with customers that haven't even launched their business yet. Like guys that are going into their second life, right? Like they're 40, 50 years old and they want to get out of the corporate grind and they want to build their excavation company. We've actually got like 3 or 4 of them we're working with right now. A couple of them, I just got a message from one yesterday because we were supposed to have a call and I said, do you want to meet today or do you want to wait till after the new year? And he's like, let's wait till after the new year. He's like, keep doing what you're doing. I'm already booked out till February. He's been in business for 2 or 3 months.
That's awesome.
But, like they have to do their part of the job. It's not, as a business owner, but we look at it more as a foundation and a strong thing. So that if you come to work with us and then you quit working with us, like the website still ranks, you still get leads, you're still getting visibility. Yeah. It's not like a guy that says, I'll get you 30 leads a month. And when you stop paying them, the phone quits ringing.
Right.
But
I use a software called Synced Up. I don't know if you know Western Zimmerman or not. He's a CEO. So Synced Up is a really big software in our industry for, invoicing, budgeting. It's basically its claim to fame is knowing your numbers, right? So we build a budget in this, a yearly budget every year. This is what it figures out. This is what our overhead is. This is what we need to charge to make this profit margin. All your labor, all your materials, job costing, everything, right? So I have a line item in there for marketing, so if I plug in, $13,000 a year for marketing, that's $1,500 a month, I believe, or whatever it is. No, not $18,000 a year. Okay. My hourly rate goes up $3 an hour or whatever it is, so I can, this is that time of the year for me to do that. For me, that's when I'm building my budget forward. So I can put these costs in there and know that it's covered, So we should set up a meeting in the next couple of weeks,
Absolutely. And, and I actually ran your Google Business Profile through our Google Business Profile software. And I just put in like paver patios, snow removal, and a few other keywords. And like your ranking, the best ranking you had was 15th, and most of them were 20 plus, and that doesn't tell you exact number,
right?
And that's for probably a 30-mile radius around your address. So
wow,
like what could you do if you could just get more visibility on the top of the Google page with that profile?
I don't know. I'd probably where I'm at now, I'd probably like, yeah, that'd be nice. But if it happened, I'd probably be like, man, this is too much. You got to be careful what you wish for, right?
That's when you dial in what you're going to be doing and like what services and what type of projects, do better qualifying with your leads.
Yeah, exactly.
Dial in your process.
Yeah. And then that's the thing is that I know, where do we make the best money?
Yeah.
Where do we have the least resistance you know, just based on all the different little divisions, subdivisions we have, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome, man. What words of wisdom do you have for other business owners out there listening to this episode today?
Man, you just have to think about how you want to be treated and treat those people, those customers, exactly how you want to be treated. If you want to grow, if you want a customer to spend money with you, you know, why would you spend money with you? Why would I spend money with myself? Trust is a big one. Okay. Communication, you know, is a big one. We're so used to getting instant gratification on our phones these days. Everything's instant. You want a pizza, boom. You know, you want to go see someone to deliver something to your house, boom, right? So be quick on your communication. Lastly, you know, is just trust God. That's my biggest one. You know,
I love it. I love it, man. I think we end it right there. That's a powerful finishing statement.
Amen.
Man, I can't thank you enough for coming on here. If you guys want to connect or thank Mike for being on the show, we're going to link his Facebook business profile into the show notes. Please do. Guys, have a happy holidays. This is the week before Christmas. We'll see all of you soon. Stay safe out there.